Do you want to just give a little bit of a sharing for investors about what are some of the strategies that you deal with or that you work with to deal with kind of the volatility that you're seeing, the how you separate the signal from the noise in terms of all of the kind of the panic and things in both directions? You've been doing this since a very large crash. You've been through a few of these since then. What are some of the strategies you deploy, and what are some of the things that you're seeing that kind of investors could learn from or be aware of in the future?
The biggest value that I've ever added to a client in terms of risk management is actually none of the scientific tools, none of the market knowledge. To me, and this is advice that I would give anybody, any investor, is to know thyself. I think the greatest value add I do for every portfolio that or for every client that I've ever met, that I've personally managed, is that I want to always exercise a quantitative discipline, to have numerical targets, or just two numbers, just the return side and the risk side. Having a nebulous idea of what the portfolio is trying to do. For instance, I see it so commonly that a client just wants to grow their money until they retire, or they want to keep their money safe and that sort of thing. That's just not good enough, because you cannot design a portfolio quantitatively in this day and age. So if I can pin down a client, and sometimes it takes 2 hours, sometimes it'll take 2 years to figure out what their required rate of return is, it'll go a long way for him and me to design the portfolio and to be happy with the entire experience. A client who we figure really needs, let's say, a 4.27% rate of return on average year on year, is less likely to get caught up in the euphoria of rising markets and try to glom on to the newfangled things, or a new fund that does 24% 1 year, simply because we know that this portfolio, all we're trying to do is 4.27%. Yeah, we'll hit 6%, we'll hit 7%, occasionally we'll hit 8%, but we're just not likely going to do that. We're not going to go out on a limb. At the same time, if the market doesn't do well and we're hitting around 1%, 2% in any given year, that's within the expectation of the client, given what we're trying to do. So that's always been the number one risk management tool, is for the client to understand himself. In my 30 plus years, I've really never met a client who told me that, yeah, this is what I need. I need 4.27%. Yeah, people have said, yeah, I want 8%, I want 9%, but I always challenge that. I always say, why? Why do you say you need 8% or 9%? And they say, oh, I don't know, it sounds like a good thing because I did 8% last year. Are you taking more risk than you really need, is the point. Or you're not taking enough risk for what you really want to do with your money. So it's a journey that oftentimes they've never gone on with the bankers that they've spoken with.
Mm-hmm.